Okay, so by now you should have already watched season 4, episode 4 of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. And if you missed it, I'll catch you up to speed. Right at the very end of episode number 4, the highest got a word from the Raku for the men on the camp, from himself too, of course. He's got to put in his 2 cents. And he wants to perform this ritual tonight where the men on the camp can take on a wife, but under one condition. And I want to give my reaction to some of what he said, right? So let's talk about it. Press play.
But I got a word that some of the men here were lusting and having sex with these women.
Look at the look on Manny's face. Guilty. Guilty as charged.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to show yourself. Raku has showed me already.
So whether the men show themselves or not, he already knows, right? From that foggy third eye. About who's been sexing who. So that third eye is becoming unreliable at this point. Press play.
I also know that some of you are so desperate, you have even attempted things with older women.
Now, he's calling these men desperate, right? So, what do you expect? They're in the middle of nowhere. They can't have sex. And if they are married, they can't have sex with their wives without your permission. So he's forbidding, one of the most natural things known to man, right? It's kind of an unreasonable request, don't you think? Press play.
I want you all to write on a piece of paper that is in front of you a yes or a no. You will remain anonymous. I just want to know if any of you have slept with the elder mother.
Now, this is a question that I have for the men subscribers here. If you're sexually deprived, you haven't had any cooch in a while, it's been a long while, right? And then elder mother comes along, right? Whether she's young or old. Well, I can't say young or old because we're talking about elder mother at this point. Would you hit it? That's my question for you guys. Would you hit it? Yes or no? And be honest. You can sign in anonymously, create another account and then say yes or no. Like the highest said, you don't have to let me know who you are, but would you hit it? Whether it's old or not old. I really don't like using the word old when you're talking about people. So let's just say that it's seasoned, well seasoned. Would you hit the well seasoned Tinder sugar walls? Yes, no, I don't know, maybe. Because this is such an unrealistic expectation out of a man, right? But you let us know. Press play.
You think this is funny? Don't laugh. Write your answer on the paper. River passed the plate.
Don't y'all just love how he says that? River, pass the plate. They are indeed at church, right? Do y'all's deacons stand at the end of the aisle when they're passing out the communion cups? They stand there with their hands behind their backs, all military. I love it. It shows such an orderly, fashion when we're, taking the bread and the wine. So I love it. But do your deacons do that too? Let me know in the comments.
So in my prayers with the Raku, I ask that certain men be allowed to take a wife.
So they're allowed to take on a wife. Look at Lewis sitting up proud. Oh yeah, he ready. Now he's like, I ain't gotta hide to get the gussy. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. But he's a little bit unsure. He's still unsure, so he's got to let it all sink in. And the highest is telling them to be careful who they choose, right? Because the one that they choose is going to be the one that they have to lay with forever, and they can only have one.
I know as a man what that feels like. And some of the men here should have that too. Now, all of the men who have been enlightened, stand up.
So he's been praying to the Raku that certain men be able to take on a wife. And let me just interject here, Because when we're talking about Jim Jones, I actually, invested in this documentary where I purchased it. That's an investment for me, right? So I purchased a documentary because you can't really look at it unless you purchase it. So I purchased it. And this guy was indeed definitely a member of Jim Jones's cult. And he was being interviewed by, I don't know if it was People or National. It was one of those big media companies, right? So they were interviewing him. And Jim Jones, it's just so much, but I'll just stick to this story. He said that if you looked at my last video, I talked about how the people on Jim Jones's camp were deprived of sleep. They were deprived of sex. They were deprived of food, all kinds of things that were going on, right? And all, of course, for the sake of the community, the brotherhood. We got to work. So all while they're doing this, of course, Jim Jones's voice is playing in the background because he has this loudspeaker that resonates throughout the compound where all the men, women, and children can hear his voice 24 hours a day. It was like Jim Jones radio, right? So these men are out and, they're working in the field. They're hot. They haven't eaten. They haven't slept. They haven't had any cooch. Like, it's horrible, right? So at some point, scientifically, your body is going to shut down, including your mind, the way you think, your thinking process, right? So the guy said that he got to the point to where when Jim Jones would come on with those comments about not sleeping with your wife and things like that, he would take it to heart because he could not think for himself. That's what he said. He said, I couldn't think for myself. So in my heart, I felt that Jim's decision was better than mine at that point. Oh my God. That speaks volumes, you guys, for the state of mind of his followers, right? At some point in time. Because it's like I said before, it didn't start out as a cult. It started out as a church. And when you're in any type of relationship with someone, whether it be, pastor, church member, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, friendships, relationships, any type of relationship with someone, it builds, right, over time, right? So they had grown to trust this man, wholeheartedly with their lives. Hence why they're there on the compound anyway. So anyway, Jim Jones was making the decisions for them. And this scene actually reminds me of when this guy said that. So that's why I'm interjecting here to let you guys know that everything that Tyler is putting in the series, it's so true. And this is why I love the show. It's another reason why I love the show. And then, of course, I had my own personal story that was attached to this show. And if you want to hear my personal story, it's on the video called Real Life Ruthless. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll insert it here. So just make sure you check it out. It's not very long. It was to be a part of a series where my computer crashed right after I did that one. I lost all the files that I had, so I'm strategically placing bits and pieces of the parts 2, 3, 4, and 5, or however many parts it was going to be, into these videos here as I see fit. So just digest the information, just so that you can kind of see what Tyler Perry was doing or thinking, his thought process while writing the script and casting these people. And I mean, it's genius. I love it, and it's so true. I mean, we do laugh and we do have a good time, reviewing the show and everything. But it's like I said in my last video, make sure that you're praying for everybody, everybody involved, everybody, that they can be led in the right direction, whatever that direction is. Okay. All right. So press play.
Now, to have a wife, you must allow me to enlighten you first. The Raku needs children, and my seed is the only seed that matters.
Now look at Lewis. He done changed his tune. He like, man, no, I'm good on the seeding for now. No marriages for me.
For those of you who are enlightened, I will allow you to choose a wife at a ritual tonight.
So the highest said he knows what it feels like to be inside them sugar walls. And he wants you to feel it too. He wants the men on the camp to feel like he feels when he's inside them sugar walls, right? So he wants to share the love, right? So he's allowing the men to take on a wife as long as they've been seeded first. They have to be enlightened. So in the upcoming episodes, I'm sure that we can very much look forward to this ritual ceremony where the men can choose their wives. And it's, telling us everything, because now we know that if they're choosing a wife, that they've been in the highest bed, right? And women, this is a question for you. Would you want a man who has been seated by the highest? Would you want that to be a part of your holy matrimony? I mean, seriously, like knowing that he's already slept with a man. I mean, I don't know. Now, listen, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. Please don't misunderstand me. But if you're not leading that lifestyle, right, would you want to marry a man who has been seated? That's the question of the day. So drop your comments below and let me know what you feel about this ritual ceremony that we're going to be taking part of. We're going to see it, and I can't wait to see what it all entails, right? I hope it's nothing gross. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're a fan of Tyler Perry's Ruthless, go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining me today on Ruthless TV, and I'll see you on the next one.